G'day! Today we're continuing on the string challenge of Corp. The good news is that this game is now fixed enough that we can definitely bring back a bit more speed to the release times of these videos. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into Sweden. We'll get them building away for us. I'm going to touch that just yet. I'll just give it a second to see if anything else shows up between them. Now before I do, there was one thing I wanted to add in my comments. Someone did list a whole bunch of cities that they thought... Alright, so someone went for 3 cities that they reckon aren't upgraded, so let's see how they've done. Nantes in France. Nailed it. Number 2. Tocopilla in Chile. That's fine, Tocopilla. Crushing it. Number 3. Chalapata in Bolivia. Chalapata. Look at that. Now that is a keen set of eyes. Well done. Alright, so what we'll do here is we will let we'll let Sweden slowly grow, and while it is, we'll have a quick look around the world to see if with the improved got him right on top of the other guy. With the improved sort of gameplay, we have a chance of getting rid of this. So let's up that a bit. Like I said in another one, I'm not too... I don't have much issue with the idea of giving some of these smaller lines so many planes. In fact, if I could just do a sweep that said, put 5 planes on all these lines, let's do it. Let's see. I don't think that there's enough passengers actually moving through that would cause a log jam. I mean, eventually, yes, it would. If as all those passengers hit, say, one of the longer flights, if everyone else is successfully getting it to there, I suppose. But I think that a lot of it won't... I don't know how to explain what I mean. I think that there's a lot more... there is only so many passengers that are traveling here. So if the amount of planes mean that those passengers are moving between some places... I don't know. The fact that you can see with, say, like these 2 planes here, if we look, that guy's got 100 of 600 passengers. He's not now shifting 600 extra passengers to Odessa. He's at the mercy of how many people are coming to Abilene. Now, that being said, there's only so many people that are going to come to Abilene because there's only 1 plane on there. So is this now going to become a much slower route because of that? I mean, like... that is going to be a string that potentially just continues on and on. That eventually, as these go along, they're going to hit, say, this route here, and or this route here, and that's going to be the ones that says, like, well, no, it can't handle the amount of passengers that are being delivered to it by 5 planes traveling the other direction. Some of these really surprised me. I mean, I suppose that's a slightly, in the scheme of how long these flights are. In Cuba, that's a pretty long flight between 2 very short flights. That one, I mean, that one's not too short, but that's one big issue I think there is with having such big airports, is that now this guy, even with his 2 planes, is going to be working so far behind having to clean out 10,000. I mean, I can make it a 20,000 airport, but that's not the problem. The problem isn't that there's so many people wanting to just go to Las Tunas airport. It's that I've created a line that's having a problem that there are too many people arriving at Las Tunas airport and aren't being moved along. As long as this number continues to go down, which it should, hopefully we've solved it. Waco. I don't think there's anything wrong with the layout of that. That might have just been a size issue. guy got? He's already got 2. Are they on top of each other? Get rid of that one. Do that again. Imagine that they were going to see a problem here again. I mean, all these people are actually heading north that are the issue here. I did see one suggestion at one point that said, well, what I could do is use smaller planes to try and create this balance a bit better. So it's not necessarily about the amount of passengers that are being moved at any one time. It's just about having a managed speed of passengers being moved. But I think that because any plane wouldn't have, like a 600-seater plane is also moving faster, the sort of logic that you'd have to try and work out to get that to go, I'm sure doing some full-blown math, you could figure that out. But I mean, there's so many different lines that there is a way that you could solve this puzzle. Absolutely. I think the way to solve it would be, can you make every single connection the exact same length? So at that point, you would have crisscrossing lines because you're attempting to have, say for example, you would need every connection to be equal to the longest connection, in theory, which is that one there. So you would need to have this guy bounce to here, to bounce back over there, to bounce back, so that all distances are exactly the same. Possibly. I mean, you would have to be pretty bang on with your distances to crack that one. Alright, let's give him 2 planes to... So that's definitely the whole lot of little short ones that is the finish point of. It's already got 2, so should definitely help him out a bit more. Alright, Brandon, what's your problem? The question is, which way are the flights a problem for Brandon? Chicago, London, so it actually is probably still going that way. So what we might have just done there by creating the second plane is cause him even more work. We'll give him a 3rd plane though. How many of you got? 2? Let's give them a 3rd one as well. Man, that's how many of you got? 2. Gee, I was just visiting you not that long ago, wasn't I? Where are they headed? London, Toronto. That is south. Give this guy a 3rd plane. I don't know why these guys are connecting to him. Does seem like a much easier one for these guys to take on. We get rid of 2 long lines. We will still give this guy 2 planes though. This guy can also have 2 lines. I don't know how many people are currently moving through my network. That would be a really great thing to be able to see. Like I think I've said before, one thing I would love is just a list of busiest destinations. Like how many people are currently on the map trying to get to London, for example. Like from having clicked on a few of these, it does feel like London and Sao Paulo are the 2 big ones people are moving to. There's a lot of New York there. Not much going on in Boston. Alright, what are we looking at over here? I've never been to Sweden. I'd say I have much interest in going to Sweden either. Not to say that I have no doubts that it's a beautiful country, but there's nothing that has ever caught my eye that has said, like, well, that's what I want to go to Sweden for. So, say for Norway, over near Stavanger, there's the fjords, firstly. And then there is it's just a statue of swords. Looks kind of neat. I mean, just more if I was in the area of Stavanger, it's just something I would go, I'll check that out. The thing that's in Norway that I don't think I would see, but seems interesting, is that there's the world's largest scale model of the galaxy, which is something like a building down south is a huge circle, and then you slowly have to work all the way up, like 800 kilometers or something, until you'd eventually come across Pluto or Neptune or whoever they've got as the last one. I'm not sure if they're still recognizing Pluto in Norway. There is a similar thing to that in Melbourne. Along here, for about 3 kilometers, is St Kilda Beach. Is the Galaxy Walk as well. So you've got the sun, which is how big would you say it is? I can't think of any balls that are as big as that. Much bigger than a beach ball. But then you would say, like, Mercury is about the size of a ball bearing, and so it's about 20 meters away, and then 30 meters beyond that you can see Venus, and 50 meters beyond that you can see the Earth, 60 meters beyond that you can see Mars. But then once you get there, I think you've got to walk something like 400, 500 meters to get to Jupiter, and then another like 700 meters to get to Saturn, and you start to realize that, alright, these planets are pretty far away, which is quite neat. Give that sort of scale, to be able to take my daughter down there and sort of show her, like, turn around, can you even see the sun at this point? That's how small the sun would be to these planets. But the other neat thing is that right next to the sun, right next to the sun, the size of about a basketball, is the closest star to the sun. Now it's sitting about 10 meters from the sun and like on St Kilda Beach, but it is technically accurate in the same scale as everything else there. It's just that you would have to walk the entire around both poles of the Earth and come back to the sun, and that's how close they are. So on that scale, the entire radius of the Earth, that's how close the closest star is. Alright, let's concede that we're ever going to get on hold of this. Now that's an interesting one right here. You must be small, because I was going to say you've got two very short routes bouncing between you. No reason that you should be struggling so much. Where are the people going? Los Angeles. So that's this route. That's a hard one to gauge on. I feel like this is just going to continue to climb up, right? 5751, 576351. Yeah, it's slowly ticking up. So which would mean that we'd have to give this 2 planes, but let's test it out. Let's give them a little plane. Because they're going to make this guy worse if they take too many. Basically what we want is this guy just doing half the size of that other one at a little bit of a slower speed. We actually see this drop onto 5,000. We do. So hopefully he's got that a little bit more managed. One, he's got one. I don't actually mind that. Let's go some 300-seater planes for some of these routes. See how that goes to sort of try and balancing it a little bit better. Alright, I heard a few more dings. There we go. That's a bit more of a line into Sweden that we were hoping for. Now, the trickiest thing here is that because I guess all the Swedish cities are on just hugging this side of the country, it's going to be trickier to connect it to Norway. We'll see where this most southern Norwegian city ends up. Bring him in. Because I'm wondering if what we do is we go get rid of that. We get rid of that. And we get rid of that. We get Copenhagen to bounce into Halmstad. These guys to bounce over there. Actually, we might keep those guys bouncing in there. Get rid of that one. And then we go Oslo like that. And so hopefully what we'll do is see another Norwegian city in this vicinity. And they can be the other point to sort of bounce in. And we just build basically all of Norway on this little inlet. And then allow Sweden to continue on back into Finland down. Russia and China are two big question marks on how I approach them here. Because I feel like I almost need to, like, open them up and then let them rip for, like, an hour and a half, just having cities appear. Speaking of, I did sort of mention it last time, I didn't know the numbers. I had a look. The game boasts on its description that there are tens of thousands of cities that you can unlock in this game. So, I mean, how long would you think that means that you could leave the game running for after you unlock all of every country in the world with the exception of the French Southern Atlantic lands, which would, opening the last country would obviously end the game. If we leave everyone else unlocked, how much do you think we're going to fill? I'm quite surprised that the game actually hasn't filled just the empty space. I mean, I realize that we've looked up a few of these cities that just sort of are in on their own, and they're very small to begin with, so there's probably not too much in these sections, but there are definitely cities like Reno's in here. That's a huge empty space that we've got. I mean, Denver and Kansas City, I can't name anything off the top of my head, but I'm certain that there are small towns in here. I mean, if we've got 2,000 population islands out here, there are definitely 2,000 population cities in the middle of America. Stavanger, there we go, where the swords are. Significance of Stavanger to me is that a company I used to work for had its head office in Stavanger, so I'm very much aware of Stavanger in Norway more than most other cities there. Manchester's definitely having a bit of a struggle here. Let's give them one of those 300-seaters. I don't know what's in between Norway and Sweden. I mean, based on where these cities are and where these cities are, is this uninhabitable? Is there a mountain range or something that divides the two? I mean, understand that this is purely going from my knowledge of where the cities are located on this map, and nothing else. I don't know if any of you have been playing Wordle, the world version of Wordle. But if you enjoy these videos, you might enjoy that. It's very much identifying countries around the world. Sort of logic of it operates that you... it gives you the outline of a country, and then you've got to try and say what the name of the country is. If you guess wrong, it'll tell you how many kilometers you are away from the correct country, and in what direction the correct country is. Definitely playing this has increased my knowledge of the locations of countries. If it's a country in here, there was one the other day that was Latvia, and I was like, I know it's one of the countries that are up here, north of Belarus, but I can't think of the names of any of them. South of Finland, north of Belarus. So I was in here, one of these, but... I mean, today's one was China, which is, it's a pretty easy... I was looking forward to a good challenge, and I got China. I was like, okay. Not today. Let's learn about Troms, because I can't imagine too many people live in the surely dark for all of winter Troms. What am I looking at? The... Apparently 71,000 people. Population total, sorry, was 77,000 in 2019, making it the 12th largest city in Norway. What is up there? Sorry, I'm still just trying to read about what economics? Fishing port. It's the largest fishing port in Norway. The University of Troms is a center of art for Arctic research. Tourism is exploited as an alternate economic resource. After Joanna Lumley featured the city in the BBC special Joanna Lumley in the Land of the Northern Lights. There you go. I'd imagine you'd have quite a good chance of seeing the Northern Lights being so far north. Where do we slot you in? Because we don't want you to bounce up to you. I suppose we've got to get rid of that one. Let's make a... look down. Alright, I can see. Let's connect the Troms. I don't know if there's much in the north of Finland. Yeah. Bodo. Bodo. Trying to think of the way that you pronounce words in Norwegian. But definitely a language I don't have too many like starting points. I think Stavanger. What's the other one I'd have? Go with the dragon tattoo. It's Norwegian. Homs Bloom. Ah, it's been too long. Daniel Craig. Mikhail Bloom's. Nah, I lost it. Surprised that we've gotten this many islands out here in Portugal, but we're still without Hawaii or Alaska. I mean, am I grateful? Sure. But I think that that's partly just that there's... I mean, you can see how many United States cities already have. This is, in terms of the amount of Portuguese cities I have, this is significantly less. So it's understandable that they might be a bit more willing to sort of explore out into the ocean. While those ones are going, let's have a look to see what new problems we've created for ourselves in the world. Let's give them a 300. Yeah, just the idea that we're... I don't mind this so far, that we're sort of putting in someone that also going to operate at a different speed too. I mean, I can see the benefits of that. Operating full capacity though. Back and forth. This will be an interesting one to see once we ultimately finish this, how many passengers we've delivered, because it feels like it'll be a few. Very stad. Alright, now let's sort of bounce up. I think that allows us to do that a bit more. I feel that my chances of actually getting this thing to operate without overflowing could be behind me. I think that now there's possibly just too many people on the lines. I mean, in theory, if I had enough money, I could go around and just upgrade everyone to level 10, and in that brief moment, or they finally hit the capacities of all those airports. I think I would get it, but yeah, let's give you another little buddy. So what we really should be doing from here is that this guy bounces out to here, and then they work their way up. It's just that that's a relatively long flight that would be creating. like I said, the other question is where are Finnish cities? Oh, we got someone out in the water. Visby. Let's learn about Visby. So, I mean, firstly, I want to assume that Visby is a Swedish city. Islands can always prove that quite easily wrong. Yep, Visby is a city on an urban area, Gotland County, on the island of Gotland, with 24,000 inhabitants as of 2017. But quite a nice place as well. Certainly never heard of it. Gotland. Now we've got this running all the way up. So we now can just have this connect and go. And it actually swoops over the top. So possibly what we want to do is go... Get rid of that. Make that there. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Make that connection. Where did that new city show up? Somewhere up there. We've got to learn about Vatso, right? Okay, then from here we can go up, up. Actually, you've thrown a spanner in the work, Vatso. So it's going to go to Atla, then down here and come back, and then it means that I'm sort of just straight into Finland. So for now, let's just have them connected. In that very messy way. Definitely part of the world that I think would be interesting to go see, the Scandinavian countries. Oh, like I said, I was always holding out that I'd get a work trip there, but unfortunately never came to pass. What are we looking at? Vatso. Population 5,000 2020. This is the 163rd largest city in Norway. Known for its interesting bird life. Really give any indication of what its sort of economic benefit is. I would imagine most likely fishing. Most notable resident was Matthias Krog, who lived from 1754 to 1828 and was a clergy, the first bishop of Hålogaland. So if you'd always been wondering where the first Bishop of Heligoland, Matthias Crouch, was born? Now you know. That was the missing piece of that puzzle that had haunted you all these days. So there's definitely some work to do at the top here. This section here doesn't make much sense. And I think that what we're needing is just another city in Sweden that answers this question. Whether it is that it puts a city in here, and so that we can get these guys to sort of hook down and come back this way. But the other big question of this is going to be, how does Finland lay itself out? And do we get any cities in the north, or is it all going to be situated down here, in which case this has to bounce up and then swing back down through Sweden and come down. The next time, obviously, we're definitely going to do Finland and probably Estonia. It will be good to do a few small countries to allow these slightly bigger countries to continue to have their cities come in. Because I do think that there are a few more to go. But that'll be it for this one. There we go. Norway and Sweden. Any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them below. Until next time, catch you later.